Justice for all.
Liberty and justice for all.
All right. As we've done the last couple of meetings, I have a script that I need to read because we're conducting this as a Zoom meeting. It's 6:30 and I called the meeting to order. It's a regularly scheduled meeting of the Winona City Council and is being held via conference call pursuant to Minnesota statutes 13D.021 in response to the COVID-19 emergency. Let me remind those who are on the conference call line, please mute your phones until you are asked to speak. Also, please identify yourself before you speak. As required by the statute, all votes will be conducted by roll call, so each member's vote on each issue can be identified and recorded. Also, if at any time a council member is not able to hear the discussion or one another, please interrupt me immediately to indicate so. Also, just a reminder to state your name before you speak so you are easily identified. The public will be allowed to speak during the designated public hearings. You'll be asked to state your name and address before you make your comments. Public is not allowed to speak during other agenda items unless you have a request before the council and the mayor has given you permission to speak. I have a few announcements I'd like to make. We're going to move two agenda items, 5.1 and 5.2, which are the presentation of the 2019 city financial reports and a presentation of an award, up right after the required public hearing. And also, I want to remind everybody that starting tomorrow, filing for city offices and county offices, I assume, are open. And if you want to do that, you should call the city clerk and find out how to do that, because City Hall is currently closed to the public. There are ways to do it, and maybe Monica can address that later. The third thing I want to mention is that some of you may have tuned in anticipating that the council was going to discuss the Broadway Road Diet project. We are not doing that tonight. That will be on the agenda for June 1st. And just for the council members and anybody else's information, we have right now before us a plan that we're to consider, the road diet plan. I've also talked to the city staff about putting together another item to consider as well. Many people have suggested this, and I think the council needs to have all their options on the table. And that's if we didn't do the road diet, what could we do to make the street as safe as we can for pedestrians? So that is something that will be also shared with the council at the June 1st meeting. So with that, I'm going to ask the city manager if he has anything that he wishes to say.
Thank you, Your Honor. Monica, would you like to speak a little bit about the election process and folks that want to sign up?
Right. So for the city council filings, if you are looking to file, you can call my office and either schedule a time to meet with me, or if you would like to submit your application through the Dropbox, you can find your own notary. I can email you the application form. You would find a notary, and you can put that filing in the Dropbox at City Hall. But let me know that you are interested in, and we will be looking for that. Again, filings close 2 weeks from tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Thank you. I'll let the council and the community know that our COVID-19 community response team has been up and meeting and doing some great work. We're starting to post their first position papers online on the city website, so that will only grow over time as they do more work. And then finally, the fire department distributed over 700 masks this last weekend. So we want to thank everyone who helped put those together, as well as the fire department for getting those out. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I will now ask the city clerk to take the roll call. Members of the city council are either present in the council chambers or participating by conference call. Please indicate your presence by stating here as the city clerk calls your name.
Mayor Peterson,
Here.
Councilman Thurley,
Here.
Moeller. Here. Alexander,
Here.
Iden,
Here.
Borzakowski,
Here.
Scholmeyer.
Here.
And we will now go to the public hearings. Item 2.1 is the proposed 2020 sidewalk replacement project and preliminary assessment roll.
I'd like to also read a brief statement here at this time. For each public hearing, staff will make a short presentation, and then I will ask if anyone from the public wishes to speak to the matter. You must clearly state your name and address, and you will be given up to 3 minutes to make your testimony. I will call 3 times for public comments. Once the hearing is closed, the public may not participate in any discussion by the city council. And council, if you wish to make a motion, later state the following: I move to approve, fill in the blank. To second the motion, state aye, your name, and second the motion. All right, I'll call the public hearing open and ask Brian to take it over.
This is our yearly sidewalk program. This year is from Main Street to Lafayette Street, where the city does a good chunk of the curb ramps and such like that, and to bring them up to American Disability Act standards. And the public is responsible for repairing any parts of the sidewalk that are in front of their house that do not meet ADA standards, which is a 1/2-inch trip hazard or more. And that's the public hearing we're here for.
Okay, council have any questions for Brian? Okay, I'll ask if anybody else wishes to speak. Anybody wish to speak to this topic? Anybody wish to speak to the sidewalk replacement project? Okay. I'll declare the public hearing closed.
I, Michelle Alexander, make a motion to adopt the attached resolution.
Eileen, second.
Okay, a motion by Michelle and seconded by Eileen. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Or no? Roll call. Geez, my fault.
Get my list here. Mayor Peterson,
Aye.
Councilman Thurley,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Iden,
Aye.
Borzakowski,
Aye.
Scholmeyer.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries.
On to the petitions, requests, and communications. Item 3.1, reappointments to the Board of Gas Examiners.
Gonna move 5-1.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, we are moving to new business because we have consultants on the line. So moving up to new business, item 5.1 is a presentation of the 2019 city financial reports. And we have our auditors from Deloitte and Touche to make a brief presentation.
So this is our annual review of our 2019 financial report by our independent auditors of Deloitte. And I'd like to introduce Judy Dockendorf, a representative with Deloitte that will, I guess, take us a summary through the 2019 financials. Okay, Judy.
Thank you, Mary, and members of the City Council. I'm Judy Dockendorf. I'm Managing Director from Deloitte and Touche, and I led our audit work for 2019 for the city. Linda Schmidt is our audit manager, and she is also participating in today's meeting. We have completed our 2019 audit work for the city and issued our opinion on the financial statements today. Our opinion on the financial statements is unmodified or a clean opinion, and that opinion covers the governmental activities, the business type activities of the city, the discretely presented component unit, which is the Port Authority, each major fund, and then an aggregate remaining fund information, as well as the related notes to the financial statement. During 2019, the city did not exceed $750,000 in federal expenditures, so a compliance audit under the uniform grant guidance was not required. Our audit procedures included evaluating the design and implementation of internal controls at the city. Such controls including segregation of duties, the review of account reconciliations, review of journal entries, appropriate approvals in place for expenditures, and review of the financial statements. We also performed testing of significant judgments and estimates recorded in the financial statements, specifically around the pension and other post-employment benefit liabilities that are recorded in the city's financial statement. We performed other substantive procedures, which included detailed testing and analytical procedures, and then reviewed the financial statement disclosures in the CAFR. We did not identify any corrected or uncorrected misstatements in the financial statements, and no significant changes were identified in the notes to the financial statements this year, as there were no new accounting pronouncements adopted by the city. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and before that, I would just again like to thank the finance director and her team, as we did perform all of our 2019 audit procedures remotely this year, so we appreciate everyone's help in getting access and being available to answer our questions as we moved through the financial statement. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mayor George here.
Okay, go ahead, George.
Hi, Judy.
Hi.
Just a question, or actually, yeah, a question. Did you ever work with a more effective and efficient finance team than what Mary Richter and the city of Winona has? I think they do an outstanding job.
They're a great team, George, and we've said that in the past when we're there in person, and it was, even more evident as we had to do everything remotely this year. So appreciate the hard work, and as you can see by having copies of the large CAFR document, it is quite the undertaking to put all of that together. So we definitely appreciate all the hard work by Mary and her team.
Thank you.
Mark, Michelle Alexander.
Go ahead, Michelle.
I'm going to echo a little bit of what George and both Mayor Peterson have said, that actually this is one of my favorite meetings of the year when you come in and talk to us about the city's financial standing. I know our staff is top notch because there are awards for them every year, but you give us an insight into how the city functions and runs, and I don't know how you did it with our staff from so far away. And Mark's right, it loses a little something when we can't all be in the room together, but it's an invaluable document, and I really appreciate the effort that you all, including Mary's staff, put into making sure we still had a viable report this year, given everything that is going on.
Yeah, again, we really wish we were there in person to walk through it with you, but glad that we could at least meet virtually.
Any other comments? Okay.
I, Michelle Alexander, would make a motion to approve publishing the CAFR.
Second, Paul Schulmeyer.
Okay, a motion by Michelle, seconded by Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those, we will do roll call.
Mayor
Old habits
Peterson.
die so hard here.
Mayor Peterson.
Aye.
Councilman Thurley.
Aye.
Moeller.
Aye.
Alexander.
Aye.
Iden.
Aye.
Worzikowski.
Aye.
Schulmeyer.
Aye.
We'll move on to item 5.2 is the presentation for the award for financial reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association of the U.S. and Canada, known as the GFOA.
Well, it's my privilege to once again present this award to our finance department, which consists of Finance Director Mary Berger, Christine Booth, Alan Bergmeyer, Danielle Fetting, Jessica Wohan, and Brad Budnick. And what we're getting tonight is an award of financial reporting achievement from the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. And just to explain this a little further, the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada awarded a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting to the city of Winona for its comprehensive annual financial report for the year ended December 31st, 2018. This certificate is a national award which recognizes conformance with the highest standards for preparation of state and local government financial reports. On an average, approximately 15% of the cities in Minnesota receive the award. The city plans to continue to conform to the certificate program requirements for the future years. And just, this is an outstanding recognition of the good work of the finance department. Congratulations
Every person.
to all of you. Thank you.
Every person, really good job.
And I'll leave it up here on the table for you.
Okay. Then we will move back to the petitions, requests, and communications. Item 3.1, reappointments to the Board of Gas Examiners, Norm Allen, Ellen Leeson, Chris Rolbecky, and Joe Sherman.
George,
Michelle Alexander moves approval.
Who did?
Michelle
Oh,
Alexander.
okay. Was there a second?
George seconds that.
Okay, motion by Michelle, seconded by George. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in
Mayor Peterson.
their names will be called.
Mayor Peterson.
Aye.
Councilman Thurley,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Iden,
Aye.
Borzakowski,
Aye.
Schollmeyer.
Aye.
Item 3.2, appointment to the Heritage Preservation Commission of Emily Karash Casey.
I, Michelle Alexander, move approval.
I
Joe
second
Meyer.
that, Pam Iden.
Okay, a motion by Michelle, and seconded by Pam.
Pam,
Discussion?
Mayor Peterson,
Aye.
Councilman Thurley,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Iden,
aye.
Borzakowski,
Aye.
and Schollmeyer.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item 3.3 is the Winona Senior High School street closure request for their graduation to be held on June 5th.
I, Michelle Alexander, would move approval.
Al Thurley seconded.
Motion by Michelle, and seconded by Al. Discussion, questions?
Mark, Michelle Alexander.
Yes.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Yes, I just want to thank both Cotter and Winona Senior High School for finding a way to honor the 2020 graduates, because although it's in my distant past, I can't imagine not having that one moment as a senior. And so I'm pleased that both of your schools have found a way to honor these students and their accomplishment. And I hope it ends up being a successful and beautiful day for them.
Thank you very much.
Did you want to say anything, Mark? Okay, any other comments?
I just appreciate you guys allowing us to do that. It is a big deal, as Michelle had said. The kids have been pretty disappointed with what's going on and all the things we kind of taken away from them. And the opportunity to have graduation this way is really the only way we can do it without doing it virtually. And that was something the kids were not interested in. So the city council allowing the high school to do this, the kids will be overjoyed and they'll be excited for the opportunity. And we appreciate it.
Oh, good.
Al Thurley with a comment.
Yes,
Mayor?
Al.
I'm glad you're making a notice to the people who might be affected by this event. I don't think anyone would object to it given the current circumstances, but thank you for including that in your planning.
Any other comments?
Councilmember Schollmeyer.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I want to thank the high school and Mark for doing this for the students. And just want to echo Councilmember Thurley's comment about being sure this is a 4.5 hour block of time for Lake Street, and it's during the dinner hour. So making sure that we reach out to those homeowners along Lake Street is important. Thank you.
All right.
Yep. We had talked about Officer Evans, and Officer Evans said that we should probably put flyers together, and we thought about delivering those to the people along Lake Street so they're aware of it and know that we're going to close the road down so they're aware.
Good. Anything else? We'll go to roll call.
Mayor Peterson,
Aye.
Councilman Thurley,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Iden,
Aye.
Borzakowski,
Aye.
Schollmeyer.
Aye.
Moving on to item 3.4, request for 3 Sunday-only handicap parking stalls in municipal parking lot number 2 by the Edge Church.
Michelle Alexander would make a motion to introduce the attached ordinance.
Eileen Muller seconds.
Okay, motion by Michelle and seconded by Eileen. Any discussion? Hearing none. We will take roll call.
Mayor Peterson,
Aye.
Councilman Thurley,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Iden,
Aye.
Borzakowski,
Aye.
Schollmeyer.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Moving on to unfinished business. Number 4.1 is to award the contract for JB Drive Sewer and Water Extension to Gerke Excavating with the bid of $1,177,495.42. The engineer estimate was $1,453,500.
I, Al
Aye.
Thurley, make a motion to award the contract to Gerke Excavating.
I, Michelle Alexander, second.
All right, a motion by Al and seconded by Michelle. Brian, did you want to say anything?
This is a continuation of the project that was started last year. As we went with the project, there was a fair amount of people beyond the first phase that requested sewer and water. So this was put before council last fall to do phase 2 and overwhelmingly accepted. Pretty good price. We've never dealt with this contractor, but we've heard good things. So we're hoping it will turn out well.
Any comments or questions from the council?
Schollmeyer?
Al?
Yeah, Brian, just wondering, Gerke Excavating, just where are they from?
East of La Crosse. I'm not sure exactly if they're officially in La Crosse or just east of there.
Okay.
Al Thurley here.
Okay, go ahead, Al.
I did some research on Gerke. They're from Toma, Wisconsin, and they do, according to their website, a lot of municipal work and government work along with regular contracting work. So I think they will do a good job in this instance for us.
Okay. Anything else from council?
Mayor George here.
Okay, go ahead.
Just responding to Brian's comment that, you start the project and then as other homes see that happening, they would then like to get on, get involved as well too, and then get hooked up to the sewer and water. And like I say, that's the biggest part that started all the annexation back in 1996 of Winona Township and some into Wilson after that, but it's driven by the sewer and water extension. So just like to just add that in.
All right. Anything else? If not, we'll proceed to roll call.
Mayor Peterson,
Aye.
Councilman Thurley,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Iden,
Aye.
Borzakowski,
Aye.
and Schollmeyer.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Next item, number 4.2, is to award the contract for the Sioux Street reconstruction project. The low bidder was Zenke Inc., the bid of $1,114,563.86. The engineer's estimate was $1,255,842.
George,
I, Michelle Alexander, make a motion to adopt the attached resolution.
attached resolution.
Is that a motion, Michelle?
George
Yes.
will second that.
Okay,
Thanks.
motion by Michelle and seconded by George. Discussion?
I have a question for Brian, Michelle Alexander. Are we getting so many bids and such great price because the market has flipped a little, or why are we seeing so many more bidders than we have in the past and at better prices than you're estimating?
On the Sioux Street job, I was told by a lot of contractors, it's a very attractive job. being it's in lower Winona, it's mostly sand and you can work the day after it rains and even sometimes the day it rains. That explains the Sioux Street. The JB Drive one isn't nearly as nice of a project, so it has to be economy driven. I don't think contractors are totally hurting for work yet, but I think that was a nice big early let job that they were attracted to.
Well, lucky us.
Yeah, no complaints.
Brian, the railroad crossing on Sioux will be improved?
That is the current word. They're probably gonna, the crossing material itself is actually in really good shape. They're probably gonna adjust the existing crossing material.
Okay.
With the current COVID situation, I don't think I can set anything in stone, but that is the current order.
Good. Any other comments or questions from council?
Just that I'm so happy this is continuing to move forward.
Me too. I wish it was going all the way to Broadway though.
Yeah, me too. They're stopping right before my house.
Anything else? If not, we'll proceed to roll call.
Mayor Peterson.
Aye.
Councilman Thurley,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Iden,
Aye.
Borzakowski,
Aye.
and Schulmeyer.
Aye.
Then we will move to the number 7.1 is council concerns.
And we'll start with the fourth ward tonight with George.
Oh, east to west tonight, huh? Thank you. Last week, Wednesday, we had a Zoom meeting with MnDOT on Highway 43, Mankato Avenue out there with the roundabouts and all those things. And the meeting went very well. It lasted about an hour and 10 minutes. And we talked about the project, how they changed the entrance to Brusky Drive down there, which was well received by the business people and everyone else over there. And then also they talked about construction and when they do things and, you know, how they'll leave one lane open, so on and so forth. But there will be, when, you know, the health gets better, there will be another open house meeting talking about the project before they actually go down and start getting into heavy detail. So, you know, the folks will still see the project before they get into anything very heavy on that. And just one more other thing is that, you know, we're hearing a lot about, you know, the COVID-19, and we're hearing the state now, they're spending quite a bit of money on getting spent on COVID. And the governor announced, I believe it was last week, that they will be going, you know, when they start to negotiate their budget, that everything will be on the table from, you know, LGA is always out there. We fight for it every year. And I know that our city manager will keep a close eye on that, and him and Mary as well, sure, just to see, because we have to fight for LGA every year. And as we just had the financial report, they talked about LGA being a very, very big part of our budget. And hopefully that continues. And I say a lot of people in town are struggling with payments and things, and there's a lot of small businesses that are really struggling. And as we get into our upcoming budget session, I'd just like to say that I will not support any budget that has a tax increase, and I will not support any new positions added to the city unless if they are police or fire related. That is all I have tonight. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, George. We'll go to Michelle.
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Paul.
Let's see, mic on? Yes. Maybe a couple of things. I have had the experience of observing the railroad crossing warning lights working. And I will say that they do work, certainly from the WK side of the tracks. And I haven't yet had the opportunity to take advantage of them from the south side of the tracks. So they are working just fine. And I think they are helpful, and I appreciate that. I also want to say I'm hopeful that the Sioux Street crossing does get smoothened and fixed. I'm hearing from constituents and residents about that. And oh, there was one more thing. Yes, indeed. I didn't get a chance to earlier. I too feel like it's a privilege to be one of the elected leaders in the community when we have a finance department that does such an outstanding job. So I didn't get to say that earlier. I want to say that now. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. We'll go to Al.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, the Huff Street Mill and Overlay project has been finished, but remind people that the lane markings haven't been applied yet. So remember to stop for folks crossing Huff at the two spots where the bike path crosses. But it's a much improved project, and we had a year delay for that to happen, but it's I think something anybody who drives on that road now really appreciates that. And as the mayor said earlier, the filings for Minnesota elections are opening tomorrow through June 2nd. And just a reminder that I do not plan to file for re-election to represent Winona's first ward on the city council, but of course I will continue to represent residents to the end of my term with the same attention to detail and prompt response to questions as I have in the past. Governor Tim Walz has directed all flags at state and federal buildings in Minnesota to be flown at half staff from sunrise to sunset on Tuesday, May 19th, tomorrow, and on the 19th of every month throughout 2020 to remember, mourn, and honor lives lost due to COVID-19. And then finally, Memorial Day coming up in a week, and it's an American holiday observed on the last Monday of May, honoring the men and women who died while serving the U.S. military. So we honor those and recognize them on Memorial Day as we do tomorrow on May 19th. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Al. Eileen?
I just wanted to say thank you to our fire department members who were distributing masks this weekend, and to all the people that made the masks and donated them. That's so important. And I know that starting tomorrow, our some of the stay home restrictions are going to start being eased back, but it's still really important for people to be safe when they're going out and to wear masks if at all possible. So thanks to community members who are doing that. And just wanted to also, I know that a lot of people are, there's a lot of things we're not able to do right now, and especially for people who have had friends or family members lost who can't really mourn them. I've just been thinking about those folks a lot, and especially for the folks in our community who are mourning Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. That's really very specific kind of loss. And so I just wanted community members to know that we are keeping those folks in our thoughts. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eileen. And we'll go to Pam.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Tonight, I just would like to have a kind of a gardening note. For people who are interested in prairie plantings and other native plants on the boulevard in order to provide healthy food for the pollinators, please look ahead and see how high those plants are going to be, because last year we had quite a few people who were unhappy that they were told to cut down the prairie plantings on the boulevard because they got too high, and people cannot necessarily see through them when they're walking by. So if you are planting prairies on your boulevard, please go to the city's website, and you can find advice on which plants to plant and what the rules are in town. That's all. Happy gardening.
Thank you.
And moving on to the consent agenda, we have 2 items. Approval of the minutes from May 4th and a claim against the city by Kara Koner.
I, Al Thurley, move approval of the consent agenda.
I, Michelle Alexander, second.
All right, a motion by Al, seconded by Michelle. Any discussion? Hearing none, we will have roll call.
Mayor Peterson,
Aye.
Councilman Thurley,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Iden,
Aye.
Worzakowski,
Aye.
and Schollmeyer.
Aye.
Mayor George here. I move we adjourn.
I, Michelle Alexander, second.
All right, we have a motion by George and a second by Michelle to adjourn. All those names will be read for roll call.
Mayor Peterson,
Aye.
Councilman Thurley,
Move segue. Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Iden,
Aye.
Worzakowski,
Aye.
and Schollmeyer.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.